We're going to switch right over here and talk with Cheryl Charbonneau. She's the director of Weekend Comedy, and that is over at the Sand Lake Center for the Arts. And she's doing that with the Circle Theater Players. And with her, she's brought Joe Phillips as well. So, Cheryl, tell us a little bit about the play that's coming up.
Weekend Comedy is a very, very funny play.
It's called a comedy.
It is called a comedy, and we're doing it on weekends.
On a weekend, there you go. I guess you nailed it.
Got it covered.
Nailed it.
It's about two couples that accidentally rent the same cabin, vacation cabin, for the weekend.
And they didn't know.
They didn't know.
It was a mistake.
It was a mistake. And one is a younger couple and one is an older couple. So we have a lot of sparring, some of it good-natured, some of it not. But it's all very, very
Is this
funny.
isn't going to be like a Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf
No,
kind of thing?
no, it is not. No,
With the young couple and the old couple.
I have the most respect for that play, but watching that play is sort of like watching a train wreck.
Yes,
and
it is.
You can't take your eyes off it.
No.
But it's not necessarily a
Good.
pleasant thing to watch.
But yours is.
This play is very enjoyable, very funny. I like doing shows that make people laugh, that brings me a lot of joy, and I feel that it brings audiences a lot of joy, and that's what we need right now. You know, there's that.
And you brought Joe with us,
I
who's
did.
going to bring the joy to the people, right?
Yes, he is. You know,
And-
they say laughter's the best medicine. This show is good medicine. Lots
Well,
of
and I
laughter.
think we all need a laugh once in a while, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The last
Especially
time I
now,
saw
this
you,
this is the second production that Circle Theater is
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
after
yeah.
reopening from the COVID shutdown.
so how is that working with I mean, do the audience, they wear masks? How does that work? What is the restriction? Because we don't want to spread COVID.
They will be wearing masks.
Okay.
That's the current recommendation, and so we have signs up in the building saying that the audience
The
attendees will wear masks.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that everybody in the cast has been well taken care
Yes.
of. With, yeah, see, I mean, that's important.
Yes.
So you the young couple?
No.
Just checking with Joe.
Myself and Jackie DeGiorgis, who's
She's
my
coming
acting
on next,
partner,
yeah.
Are Frank and Peggy, who have rented this cabin for Memorial Day weekend to get away from the city, and much to Frank's chagrin, because he is not a person who likes to get away.
Well, you don't like to get away, and then you come up and there's another couple in there?
They arrive after we do and catch us in a rather unusual
Compromising
situation.
situation?
But it's basically about the chemistry of an older couple who've been together for 33 years and a younger couple who are kind of reacting to that and wondering, is that what we're going to turn into eventually?
Oh.
It's a very funny play, but it's also got quite a lot of heart to it. It's got quite a bit of...
So I'm sure whatever age you are, you can probably relate to some of the characters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will recognize the kind of rhythm that these two couples have together.
Yeah. So how did they pay for it? That I'm just checking. Did they split the bill or what?
Actually, Frank initially is resistant to them being there, but ends up being the guy who invites them to stay for the weekend. So,
Oh, how sweet. Cheryl, how did you pick the play?
Well, to tell you the truth, I actually directed this play many years ago.
Oh, you did? So it's
for
one you've had
Harlequin
before.
Players. And it came up rather suddenly. Brian Sheldon contacted me. I was originally scheduled to do a much bigger show with a big cast, lots of sets, lots of costumes. And I was scheduled to do that when it was canceled because of the pandemic. So
Everything changed.
Yep. So Brian contacted me and said, is there any chance you could come up with a smaller show that,
So this is
just
one you had already done.
Get us working, you know, again. And so this one immediately came to mind because I have to say, this doesn't usually happen, it's just a saying, but when I did it once before, one woman was actually practically rolling in the aisles with laughter. I know it's a cliche, but she really was.
She really did.
I was sitting behind her, and I thought, oh my goodness, she's going to fall right out of her chair.
She was laughing.
She was laughing so hard.
So do you like your part, though?
Oh, absolutely. He's got some rough edges to him, but there's a lot that's really authentic about him.
Okay.
Heart.
The sort of guy who says inappropriate things and doesn't realize that they are, but on the other hand is also very frank about who he is.
That's his name.
Yes, absolutely.
Frank, yeah. Joe, I want to thank you for being here. We're going to have Jackie take your seat, and we'll find out what she thinks about the play. So thanks so much for being here.
Pleasure to see you.
So you picked this play, and Brian Sheldon, of course, encouraged you to take this play.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one you've already done.
Yes.
When did you do it, and how does this cast differ from your other cast?
We did it several years ago for the Harlequin Players. We worked out of a church.
I remember
over in
the Harlequin
Del Mar.
Players, yeah.
Remember that group?
Yeah.
And Jim Riviello played the older guy, and I don't know, Jim was a wonderful actor, and he's passed away now.
Mm-hmm.
But this is it just every time you do a play, and Lois Colson was the older woman. Every time you do a play with whatever cast you work with, it's just a little different.
It's going to be a little different.
It's
And
gonna
right
be.
now we have Jackie with us. And Jackie, you're playing Peggy. So what do you think of Frank?
Well, I'm going to really show my age here and say I think Peggy and Frank remind me so much of the Honeymooners.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because Frank is that kind of person, and
Blustery and kind of like,
exactly, and but a good heart. And Peggy just is a whippersnapper. She just puts him in his place. And
Oh, you must have fun with that part.
It's wonderful. I love doing comedy, and the comedic timing that's required for this show. It's just
Timing
I'm
is
eating-
everything. And that's
Eat it
what the
up.
director does. She makes sure the timing is good, right?
And yes, it's one of those, anyone who's ever been to a family dinner and had multi-generations at the dinner table and trying to get a conversation going that everyone can participate in, it's kind of like that for a whole weekend.
And I know exactly what you mean when you talk about the family dinners, Sometimes it gets a little crazy because, anyway. But so you're having fun with your cast. Now, I know that you're the older couple. I mean, I just have to identify, this.
I know you had to ask.
Yeah, who's playing the younger couple?
Jill is being played by Samantha Morian, and Tony's being played by a young man named Joe Frederick. Two Joes.
Oh, two Joes, okay. So when you say Joe, you got,
Yeah, I use character names a lot.
okay, yeah, you're better off doing that, to do that. So how long have you been acting, Peggy?
Oh, I have
As,
been.
not as Peggy, but how long, Jackie, have you been acting?
This is one of those things I always wanted to do, and I did not do it until my daughter was a freshman in high school, and she was playing Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. And for some reason, the actor they had cast for Auntie M had to back out, and my daughter was like, "Oh, Mom, you should do it. You'd be great." And I'm like, "I've never." She goes, "But you're a teacher. You act all the time." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll give it a try." And I stepped on that stage, and those lights came up.
And you were there.
I tell you, I'm pushing munchkins out of the way so I can get my onto stage.
Good for you. Good
So I've
for
been
you.
doing it ever since, and that was 2000 and I'll hazard a guess, 2003.
Yeah,
Around, so.
she's been doing it. So you got some lucky with your talent here.
I have a very, very talented cast and crew. Everybody is really very dedicated, and we have so much fun. There are so many.
If you don't have fun,
stories
even in
and-
rehearsals, if you're not having fun, you may as well just say it's work.
What's the point?
It's work. I don't want to do that. Well, Jackie, I want to thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having
and
me.
telling us about your experiences with Cheryl here, and the fact that you're going to deal with Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah, should be fun. Yeah, thanks for coming. Okay, Cheryl, so Cheryl, when can we see this play?
It is September 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Okay.
And 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Okay, so you're having 6 performances,
Six
and on
performances.
Sundays you have a matinee, is that
Yes, at
correct?
2:30.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So that makes it a lot nicer for people who don't want to really drive at night, but, it's-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
And
I
you got a
would say-
great parking lot there, too.
Yes, we do. I would say reservations, well, let's hope.
Yeah, yeah.
Reservations would be a good thing because especially the matinees have a tendency to
Get crowded.
to fill up.
Yeah, they do. What age group are you looking at for this?
Oh, I would say.
I always ask that question because you never know.
Yeah, as they were saying, just about every adult could find some part to relate to in
Right.
this show.
Would you say
But
16 and up?
I would say, yes. I would think it's not really going to appeal that much to.
They probably
really
won't get a lot of the
younger-
comedy,
to
yeah.
younger kids, but I would say, a little bit more mature. 16 and up would probably be
Yeah,
recommended.
good. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here, Cheryl, and I should say, I hope your cast all break a leg, though, so good.
Thank you, and
Not-
thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's always fun to have you on, and is the Harlequin player still going?
No, they folded
Disbanded,
quite
yeah,
a while.
yeah.
They lost their home, and it's,
Yeah.
but we have so many wonderful theater groups here in the Capital District.
We are doing
You
great.
could go every weekend, you could go to see a different show
play,
every night.
absolutely, and especially now that maybe we're getting a little bit easier to see some of these plays. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Cheryl, for
Thank
being here.
you.
It's always a pleasure to have you on.